Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and I'm sorry if I'm still a little bit caught up, still a little bit emotional after this victory, because all I can say is what a win. I've never been more proud of a Houston Texans team than I am right now after this win. You had 5, 6, 7 starters out. C.J. Stroud, your quarterback's not playing. You have multiple linemen out. Every reason to lose this game. You started off this game worse than I've ever seen a Texans team start off a game, with a pick and then a fumble on a kickoff. You were down 19 going into the fourth quarter. You were down by 17 right before the half. You ended up scoring before halftime, but man, the amount of determination, grit, and I'm going to sound corny, swarm, special work ethic, and relentless mindset. The Texans had a relentless mindset today. And all I can say is, from everybody that watched our live show, which obviously this isn't live right now, but everybody that watched our live show today knows the amount of people that were out on this team. I had people telling me, hey, it's mock draft season. I had Jags fans, I had Colts fans, I had, Cowboys fans, whatever, spamming draft season in my chat. I had people calling me an absolute buffoon for saying this season's not over, this team's not done. And every time we think they're out, every time it looks like we're about to throw in the towel, it's like a Rocky movie with this team. We got to get absolutely where nobody thinks we have a chance to win this game before we go out and we prove everybody wrong. And like I said, man, I am just over the moon proud of this team right now and just the determination that they showed, because it would have been easy. Honestly, it would have been really easy for them to throw in the towel and say, you know what? We're without all these starters. We were without, this, that, and the other. Let's just pack it up. We're done with this game. It would have been really easy for them to say that, right? Obviously. But they didn't. D'Amico Ryans, I'm so proud at having him as our head coach and having the mentality of the fact that no matter what is happening in this game, no matter what happens to this team, no matter the injuries that we face, no matter, all the doubters, this team responds. And they respond with grit. It might not always end in a win. And this season, more often than not, it hasn't, right? We've lost all these one-score games. All these games, like today, we've lost up until this point in this season. And we turned it around today. We turned it around. Obviously, the Jags had a bad ending to their game, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But all I can say is this team's not over. This team's not done with. And I'm not done with this team either. And if you want to join along for the ride, I know it's a roller coaster. They're the cardiac Texans this season. They were last year as well. They will put you on an emotional roller coaster. But if you're along for the ride, if you're ready to strap in and go with me, hit that sub button. We are going balls to the wall all season long. Every single game we're having a watch party. Live shows every Wednesday. Texans content more than anybody else here on YouTube. And to the thousands of people that watched my live show today, really, I'd really appreciate y'all from the moon and back. And there's a couple people I wanted to also shout out, members of the Houston Texans, and one man in particular. And if everybody could, spam 55 down below. Danielle freaking Hunter, man. Danielle Hunter, 3.5 sacks, 7 tackles, 4 tackles for loss today. Anybody saying the Texans are paying him too much, that he's washed, this, that, or the other, get out of my comment section right now. I want to see all the 55s down below, because he, not single-handedly, because this was a team effort, coming back on, multiple fronts, he willed this defense, and he willed this team to a comeback today. 3.5 sacks, massive. His pass rush, his ability to get those tackles for loss, his ability to make tackles. Dude, if you see Danielle Hunter around Houston, you tell him what's up. You tell him, thank you so much for being a part of this team. Thank you so much for just the play, the effort level that he gives this squad. He's a veteran. He's got his money. He could easily pack it in and say, you know what? This isn't our year. The Texans aren't going to win. I'm going to save myself, save my body. None of that from Danielle Hunter. None of that. The absolute heart of a freaking warrior, Danielle Hunter. Along with him, this defense was so good. This defense was so freaking good, man. And when you look at the comparison between the two sides, the Texans outgained them in everything. 412 total yards, 282 in the air, 130 on the ground, which we'll get to the offense here in a moment, but look at the Jags, man. Shout out to this defense. 94 yards on the ground, 119 yards passing, 213 total yards for this Jacksonville Jags team. You take out the pick at the beginning that Davis Mills gave him a short field. If you take out the fumble on the kickoff return that Tremon Smith had that gave him a short field, and you take away that punt return, the Jags didn't do shit up against this Texans defense for maybe 90% of the game. They maybe had one good drive against this defense. Besides that, they were clamps. Clamp City. And I just got to say, shout out to this entire defense, man. And, one of the biggest plays in this game as well, Derek Stingley, 2 PBUs, could have had another interception, good pass breakup, but the interception right before the half, the one-handed snag that Stingley had, that saved 3 points on the board for this Texans team. And at the end of the day, we needed every single point we could get. Stingley, we paid this man for a reason, and this was the reason. On the brightest stage when we needed him, he showed up big time. Big time for this squad. And him along with Kamari Lassiter played a good game. And like I said, we'll get to the defense here in a moment. The offense here in a moment. But what a game. We have a top 3 defense in the NFL. After this game, I have no doubt the Texans as a unit have a top 3 defense in the NFL. We'll talk about the offense. We'll talk about the quarterback, which everybody's going to want to talk about. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, but couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our sponsor at Prize Picks. And throughout all the craziness, I actually forgot I hit my lineup today. So shout out to Prize Picks, the #1 fantasy sports app in America. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. All you got to do, pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you can cash in like me. You want to see my winning lineup in all of its glory, all of its beauty. I absolutely love the lineup that I put out there today. This is what we were rolling with. The Travis Etienne had me on the edge of my seat for the first carry. He had 3 yards on that first carry. Davis Mills got multiple touchdowns. We got that one. Nico Collins, that was actually one with the final play of the first half where Davis Mills threw a Hail Mary and Collins didn't score on it, but it was a 50-yard gain. So we got that. And then obviously also before the half, we had Derek Stingley give me that interception off of Trevor Lawrence that I so desperately needed. You can be a winner just like me when you get started today with our sponsor over at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. And, shout out to everybody who said not to give up because y'all were 100% right. We'll talk about the quarterback here in just a moment, but how about Woody Marks, man? 14 carries, 63 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. He had a touchdown that was seemed like the first Texans touchdown within the 5-yard line in forever. I thought we were going to have another game where we get inside the 5-yard line and we don't score a touchdown. Kaylee calls a pitch play to the left to Woody Marks. He's able to find the corner of the end zone. Hallelujah, the Texans score in the red zone. And a big part of that was Woody Marks. And not only him, also, what a day by one Nicholas Chubb. 5 carries, 47 yards, 9.4 yards per carry. Nick Chubb, when the Texans needed him on that final drive, he showed up big time. Multiple carries of 10-plus yards in that final drive by Nick Chubb. He was electric. You know who else was electric? This guy right here, Nico Collins. 7 receptions, 136 yards, 19.4 yards per reception. No touchdowns, which, there was one right before Mills reined it in. There was one I thought Nico was going to get, but anytime it was one-on-one coverage, it was 12's always open. Nico, the bank is open, and it was all day long. If you are going to put one person on Nico Collins, if you're going to say man-to-man coverage, we got you in single coverage, he's going to win. He's going to win that. Nico Collins had himself a day. Dalton Schultz, he had a great day, even though I will say, Schultzy, you had me on edge after you dropped that third down conversion. When the Texans were driving, they had turned it over on downs in Jags territory, but they had a third down where Schultz was wide open. He made up for it, though. He had an amazing touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. 7 receptions, 53 yards. He also came up clutch with a couple other receptions. He had himself a great game. Jaden Higgins had a great game. 5 receptions, 42 yards, and he caught a tutty. We also saw a little bit of Jalen Knoll, and it was actually interesting. When it came down to it, it was 4th and 2. The Texans needed a conversion to keep the game alive, to get a touchdown, to keep it going. They went with Jalen Knoll. He ran kind of like a whip route. It was in the backfield. He was motioning across, kind of went back, then motioned back. Play action, found him in the flat right there. Jalen Knoll, what a catch there to keep the drive alive. Christian Kirk didn't have as big of a impact, but the point that we all want to talk about, Davis Mills, 27 of 45, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. He also had a rushing touchdown, 1 interception, a QB rating of 84.7. This is why you pay Davis Mills $7 million to be your backup. And I will continuously say it. He is one of the top backups, if not the top backup in the NFL. Maybe he won't cut it. Maybe teams don't view him as a long-term starting option. But as the backup, I wouldn't mind if the Texans had Davis Mills for the next 3 to 4 seasons. He has shown you his leadership, the amount of leadership and the amount of maturity that he has to show to be able to, not only welcome in a new quarterback, one that is going to start over you in C.J. Stroud, and still be as humble, be as good of a teammate that Davis Mills has been. Shout out to you, man. And the fact that obviously you started the game with a pick wasn't pretty, but you didn't let that affect you. You went into the second half, and the second half numbers for Davis Mills, man. He was on fire. And he brought this team back. He willed this team back, along with the running game with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. He was a massive part of this Texans team being able to continuously move the ball down the field. Was he perfect? No. Did he make a couple crazy throws? Yes. But, man, Davis Mills really showed his heart to the city of Houston. And I think everybody should be really grateful that we have number 10 as the backup quarterback for the Houston Texans. Now, I will say this as well, because I know what everybody's going to say after this, and I know the narrative is going to be, oh, well, Jeremy, the Texans got to win with Davis Mills, so we should definitely go to him, right? No. I'm going to say no. I think Davis Mills is a great backup, and I think Davis Mills is a professional. He is a professional football player, and he's one of the best, locker room guys, one of the best guys in the NFL. But I'm still with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is my guy. I have faith in Davis Mills. If anything happens to C.J. Stroud, I still think the Texans can do with Davis Mills. I think the Texans can win games, obviously like they did today with Davis Mills. But at the end of the day, I'm still a C.J. Stroud believer. I think he has the ability to be a top 10 quarterback at the top of his powers, and maybe this win sparks something within this team. Maybe this win helps the offensive line have a little bit more, encouragement, have a little bit more faith in themselves. The run game with Woody Marks, the play calling by Nick Caley. I mean, I've at one point said the Texans should maybe fire Nick Caley. He called a great second half. He called a pretty good game. And I got to give my flowers where they're due. This Texans team, like I said at the beginning of the show, they were knocked out. They were on the ropes, and it looked like everybody was ready to give up on this team, except all the guys on the sideline. Except everybody on the sideline. And yes, was NRG packed today? No. There's probably a good chunk of empty seats in NRG. But the fans that were there got the show of their life and a game that they'll never forget. And I want to thank each and every single member of this Texans staff, each and every single member of this Texans squad that showed up today and didn't give up. Because, I mean, isn't that sort of kind of the embodiment of this city? We get knocked down and we get back up. We get knocked down again and we get right back up. We're never going to give up. And I'm not giving up on this team until we are out of it, and there is no possible chance this squad is making the playoffs because we have a top 3 defense. If we can get it together, if we can have a decent offensive attack, you never know. The last team to make the playoffs after starting 0-3 was your Houston Texans. Can they do it again? I believe. Do you?